consciousness of humanity.
Well, inversion therapy is to put you back in the womb,
Put you back in.
because
Wow.
essentially when you were first
Wow.
born, as you were exiting, you exited upside down.
I'm saying, wow.
You see, and what that does, it puts you into that state of rebirth, so
Mm.
that when you're doing that, you notice that if you look at the five-pointed star, head,
Mm-hmm.
legs, and that's what they deal
Yeah.
with Allah, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you're dealing with that, you convert that, you revert that. That's the in the ancient time, that's the representative of the fall of man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we do is we fall and we rise, we fall and we rise. And what we do is we mimic that in yoga positions in order to show that when we do stand right back up again, we always assume that position in our minds, that we will always come out right side up.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as inversion therapy, it's good because the oxygen and the air and what do you call it, that usually, because we're standing most of our lives at that point, and that point, what you do is you bring that blood back into your brain, and you have to do it
Mm-hmm.
slowly. Don't do it all at once. You're bringing a certain amount of blood that is only pretty much doesn't really reach the pinnacle in your head. That's why if I could turn this around, you'd see that I have a teeter totter,
Mm-hmm.
and I go on my teeter totter every now and then when I want to, wake up some brain cells in my head. But inversion essentially is a way for you to look at your circumstance as well. Say, as you come into a bad situation, how would you invert that situation? That exercise is to show you how you can invert a situation from bad to good.
Mm-hmm.
What is the good part of something that you see, that you're facing, that you're going through? How do you invert that moment so that it comes up a positive energy? You don't want to invert the bad energy. You want to make sure that you maintain it and sustain it. But when you are upside down and you have to look at a perspective of the world from a whole other perspective, okay, and that's what your name of your thing is, perspective. What is the quantum perspective
Quantum
of God?
perspectives. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Your perspectives essentially, sometimes when you're challenged and the challenge seems insurmountable, your perspectives begin to go back into your brain. How do I deal with this? How do I deal with it?
Right. 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 Right.
But we're dealing with it based upon solutions of standing right side up. The solution is actually, how do you invert the situation in that? How do you go completely opposite to what it is that's facing you, so that you come out on top and everything comes out as peace,
Mm.
instead of you instigating and accelerate and what's that accelerating or escalating
That's
the
good. Okay.
situation into something that worsens it.
Mm-hmm.
So I like your approach to inversion. That inversion is always to look at the opposite of everything, because it's the opposite essentially that's trying to show you what it is. If a challenge comes, then the opposite, which is the solution to that, comes. When you ask the impeccable question, since the universe is the total answer and is always will be the answer,
Mm-hmm.
once you, as the avatar, ask the impeccable question, then the impeccable value and the
Mm.
impeccable nature of the universe will always answer you.
Wow. Doc, I'm gonna tell you, Doc. Man, I'm happy we had this show tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing, amazing show. I mean, amazing show. Oh man, Doc, leave here.
Yeah,
I can't wait for you to do this workshop.
yeah,
I want to make sure we have do a show, but right before the workshop.
yes.
But let the people know I got all of Dr. Valentine's information in the description of this video, by the way. So if you want to know anything he's talking about, a lot of it is in the description. But I want to allow you, before we end, Doc,
Yeah.
let the people know one more time how they can reach you and anything you got coming up, Doc.
Well, first of all, thank you for the invitation.
Yes, sir.
It was Billy, and Billy and I felt really comfortable with a kindred spirit with you and he,
Mm,
and I feel really good when I can stretch. Only my wife and I can talk this way, but
mhm.
very out of the realm when you could talk with other brothers and sisters about this situation.
Mhm.
I will tell you that I will bring scientific information that is being suppressed about the flatted plane, and what it is that the government is suppressing to not let you know what's going on. How it began with Pope Pius VII, and how it is that the Catholic Church is the one that edits all books. that
Mm,
are actually distributed in Western civilization.
mm,
All books that are distributed in the education system of Western civilization are first edited in the Vatican. So you have to understand that they have a Luciferian protocol that they're dealing with, but there's not the same Luciferian protocol that we deal with in the occult. It has to
mm.
do with them taking down all edifices of truth. So I do promise that you will have verifiable proof so that the people who actually laugh at you talk about, oh, you're a flat earther and you must be crazy. Those who ridicule don't understand that in the next 10 years, this will be a matter of fact reality.
Wow.
It will be a matter of fact reality, and that is going to be, and that's what we're teaching. We're going to be teaching in the university because when you go to the third level in our university, there we teach you all of the sciences of the so-called flatted planes. But if you want to get in contact with us for any of our services, 800-847-1291. If you want to deal with Novatech, if you want to deal with, which is a black-owned trading platform that deals um, with um, with forex and cryptocurrencies and so forth. You can get in contact with Brother Reggie. I think his number is 415-756-5676. That's 415-756-5676. If you want to deal with the Juice Plus, which I recommend highly because you brought up a very important point about the nutrition that we don't get anymore. This
Mm,
concentrated nutrition that is actually grown on family farms. The Juice Plus is not grown on factory farms. It's all from family farms around the world. All organic, higher than the organic. It's actually NFS, National Safety, NSF, National Safety Foundation, which is
mm.
higher than any of the organics that the FDA gives you. And you can talk to Nanette. That's my daughter-in-law. Her name is Nanette, and it's 404-543-3245. Call her, but please do not harass her. Please call her, or best yet, text her and tell her that you're interested in dealing with it. 404-543-3245. And once again, I want you to support Brother Rich.
Thank you.
That goes without saying. This brother is a legend in what it is that he has been able to do to keep this information fluid because it was stymied for a while. It was you and Brother Black Dot. Black Dot opened up the faucet once again once he invited me to the platform, and that was like decades ago. You kept it flowing in the directions like the Euphrates River, that four rivers that came from the center of our earth that flowed outward. You're the one that's guiding that information out to all our brothers and sisters around the flatted plain, and I commend you with that. And lastly, if you feel like you'd like to give us a little gift, we have a PayPal. That's Kemet Earth, Kemet, and that's Earth, EARTH, at gmail.com. Kemet Earth at gmail.com. Pennies, dollars, whatever. We appreciate all of it, my wife and I. And with that, brother, brother Rich, thank you so much for this experience. It's been a blast for me. I'm going to go of certain things that they want to remember. Please remember that this is going to be a long session. Don't eat too much. Try to get some rest the day before and the night before. And there will be breaks, music breaks, for you to run, go to the bathroom, and so forth. But this is going to be a very intense because as we close out the 2023, going into 2024 in the election year, there's going to be a lot of shutdowns of um, access to certain information.
For the webinar, make sure everybody know what's going on. Make sure everybody's on the same page, the same frequency. It's going down this Sunday, family. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. If you just come in the room, make sure you sign up for this Sunday's webinar. We're just going to have a light segment today on
Mhm.
the news or the distractions that's been going on, and get
Indeed.
Dr. Valentine's metaphysical lens on what he sees taking place, if there is a metaphysical lens, and tell us about what's really going on that they may be covering up. So there's a couple of stories happening in the news. To start out with, you're known for your metaphysical teachings, Doc, and something happened with the Schumann resonance that nobody has never seen before, and it happened on Father's Day, where the Schumann resonance made what looked like cymatic images, like you know what cymatics is,
Mhm.
and people were everybody's absolutely astonished by what happened and what took place. So gotta ask you to start out with that, Doc. What happened with the Schumann resonance on Father's Day? What's that about?
Well, if they had cymatic signatures, it means that there are certain uh, cleansing brushes. The cymatics are to match or to counter the
Mhm.
cymatics of polluted thought that's in the atmosphere. You have to understand that the
Okay.
greatest pollution in our atmosphere right now ain't got nothing to do with gas, it ain't got nothing to do with high carbon and nothing. It's thought.
Thought,
Thought is
damn.
the greatest pollution right now. And people don't understand that nature is reacting to that. And what I did was I went back because it was in like 1994 when I addressed the Schumann resonance. So I had my old book with my
Woo.
Schumann resonance information
Oh,
here.
amazing. You still
So
got it.
yeah, so I
Amazing.
just the notes that I'd spoken about
Mm.
those many decades ago. So I'll
Mhm.
give you a real quick down. It was actually named after a guy named Winifred Schumann, and
Mhm.
he discovered these particular patterns in the atmosphere, these frequency patterns that essentially went into peaks and valleys. And he found a resonance. They call it the Schumann resonance, but here's what I call it. These are the peaks and valleys of the ELF, which is extremely low frequencies of
Mhm.
the Earth's electromagnetic spectrum. I called it the changing temperaments of the feminine aspect of God, when the
Mm.
electrical spirals actually create the feminine. So what's happening, and you're going to see what's going to be happening when say when you see a lightning bolt,
Mhm.
when the lightning bolt strikes, right after the strike of the lightning bolt, a resonant magnetic field is created.
Mm.
Okay, so what I tell people that some say, and I want to say what I have here. Some say that the Earth is like a giant electrical circuit. Indeed, Tesla called it the flux of the electromagnetic field generated by the sun and the moon. We are inside the dome, and the dome is acting like a gigantic cyclotron. They essentially invented a type of back to the future flux machine. I just found out one that can control the directional movement of microwave signals. So a lot of our thought patterns are in the microwave spectrum, depending on how high and how resonant and how what we call sublime and subtle they are. Now,
Mhm.
the dome, listen carefully, the dome is charged by our metallic like compressed hydrogen and helium and nitrogen dome, which reionizes the atmosphere. This happens when the saturation of human consciousness conflicts with the Earth Mother and Father Spirit's marriage in matter. Right now, the end time cycle for our present consciousness time zone is in effect, and the distorted consciousness signatures have psychospiritually polluted the atmosphere, causing the activation of corrective measures seen in the high frequency activation of fail-safe measures by divine intelligence in the form of what we see expressed in the fluctuations of matter called the Schumann resonance. So human thought and the activations of human thought actually affect the Schumann resonance, because if human thought is unbalanced or
Mhm.
goes all the way to one direction, and it pollutes the atmosphere to the point where the atmosphere begins to react, as we see happening today with all the explosions of nuclear weapons, the killing, all the sacrificing, the bloodletting.
Mhm.
Once we see that begin to happen, then nature automatically takes over, because
Mm.
everything that's happening is happening on the consciousness levels, on the higher frequency levels of consciousness. So the dome reacts to actually cleanse the atmosphere. This is why you're going to see a lot of storms. The storms that you're going to see, hurricanes, cyclones, all of these things are going to start happening because right now, pivoting off of the dome, what we have, and you're going to see me. I'm going to be talking about this in the program. You're going to start seeing sprites, things that they call sprites, which are
Right.
stratospheric, mesospheric, up to 80 to 60 to 80 miles, and they're caused by intense thunderstorms and electrification of the atmosphere. Every time there's pollution in the atmosphere, pollution at the highest level, which is a thought of
Mhm.
resonance signatures and sequences and frequencies in the collective human consciousness. Whenever the collective human consciousness goes completely skewed, as it is now, when the female and the male are imbalanced,
Mhm.
there is a corrective measure by nature.
Mm.
We see that happening now. That's why the turbulence that's caused by, say, men wanting to be women, women wanting to be men, and then they are changing the resonant frequencies of their activity. A woman does not
Mm.
act masculine and is forced to act masculine. She's taken outside of the balance of what she's supposed to be in nature. When a man now wants to cut off his vitals and he wants to act like a woman, then what his presence now becomes an anathema. It becomes a what you may call a not a virus, but a agitation to the frequencies, an imbalance to the frequencies.
Mhm.
So right now, the Schumann resonance is giving you peaks and deep valleys, peaks and deep valleys. And they say it happened on Father's Day, which is a very good day for it to happen because the mother and the father, the marriage between those two has become unbalanced. And you
Mhm.
see that happening now because the female energy, which essentially not the highest female energy, when it dovetails over into the masculine, it is now under the pairing, whereas the mother father consciousness that balances us, the imbalance is the Astaroth. Now, the Astaroth energy is a hermaphrodite energy. There
Mm.
is a male Astaroth, which they call the devil of I forgot what he was called, but he's called the devil of something. I get the devil of hell or the something of hell. But the
Mhm.
female now, when you look at Aster or Astarte or the star, you're looking at the feminine energy, Roth. Roth means red.
Mm.
Okay, so you're
Mhm.
dealing with a red-headed demon
Mm.
female who
Damn.
essentially now has a priesthood of Astaroth. You saw Beyonce take on in her present musical tour. She is acting as Astaroth, and
Beyonce?
yes, look at her dress, look at her clothing, and look at what she is. They had her on a pedestal, looking like a goddess, with the stars coming out of her, what do you call it, a head,
Mhm.
looking just like the demon Astaroth. And Astaroth has a priesthood of men who essentially dress like women,
Mm.
castrate themselves to be like women. Where are
Mm.
you seeing that information right now? Where are you seeing that happen right now?
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Astaroth energy, which is the masculine energy, because
Mhm.
he's a demon, he's another demon, but he has a feminine side, which makes him hermaphroditic.
Mm.
Okay, mix the two of them hermaphroditic. So you have this this end time demon
Mhm.
as the harbinger of the new time to come that's being destroyed. Because these entities only come to prominence when a paradigm is getting ready to be shut down in
Damn.
consciousness.
This
And
is some interesting stuff, Doc.
I'm
Wow.
hoping that people get prepared for it because this is what I've been taught. Well, I'm just going back when in since 1994, 95 to try
Yeah.
to bring this. I'm just bringing all the old information to the front right now. But you
Right.
got to
Right.
remember, right now, there is a demonic energy that's being fed into our young people at this time. That's why they're so heavy to bring us down and go after the children, because that's what she does. Astaroth, the feminine, the female demon, she goes after your children.
Mm.
Okay. And she is the one who is the sacrificer of the children
Mm.
because she's barren. She is when the so-called Adam and Eve situation came about,
Mhm.
Lilith was the first wife of Adam,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
she wasn't going to submit to him.
Mhm.
Okay, so she became the other side, the shadow of Eve,
Mhm.
that part of Eve that can come forward if Eve does not stay within the assigned resonance that keeps the feminine principle in balance. She's out of it now. And Astaroth has taken over. And if you don't see that in everything that you're looking at today, the way that things are topsy-turvy, the way that things are completely twisted, and we're going to go into it. We're going to go into it in deep depth on Sunday. But
Wow.
just understand, we are in a change. And everything that you see with the Schumann resonance is the reaction of Nature Mother and Spirit Father. Because that wedding, that marriage that's supposed to be representative of God on earth is now completely gone. That balance is gone. And you're going to see the rectifying frequencies begin to attack directly off of the dome. And I'm going to show you how the electricity, you're going to see electricity coming off the dome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh man. Wow. Whew. I'm ready for Sunday, Doc. I'm ready for Sunday. Once again, family, the link is pinned in the top of the chat. Doc's going to be going on for about 10 hours. It's going to be an amazing webinar. I can't wait to hear the information that he presents to us on these topics. And I advise everybody to sign up. So make sure y'all click on that link pinned at the top of the chat. Also, like I said, if you're coming in late, we're just going over. We're not going to be on here long tonight. I just wanted to talk to Doc, remind the people about the webinar and ask him about some of the current news that's out right now. We do that every so often when we talk about the news and just try to see what's really going on. And I'm glad I asked him about the Schumann resonance because I didn't hear anybody say what Doc just said. So I'm glad that I asked the brother about that. What I want to ask you about now, Doc, is prior to about 5, 6, 7 months ago, I never heard of a guy named Andrew Tate. Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Then I just started hearing his name everywhere. And about how the Matrix is attacking him. The Matrix he got banned. And I said, why is he banned? What the hell is he doing to get banned from everywhere? They banned the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I think they banned Trump. They banned Tate. I think Alex Jones got banned.
Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Have you noticed who's being banned?
Men.
Men.
Yeah.
It's Astaroth. She's at work.
So you saying that? Hold on. So that's the
representation. The attack is using feminized males because most of the people in Congress are pedophiles. And they worship at the altar of this particular type of demon. There are a few others that they deal with. They call them satanic. Yeah. But each demon has a frequency that you resonate to.
Right.
And you call upon that based upon the actions necessary to give that particular demon or feed that demon. And it's not really a demon outside of ourselves, it's the demon within. And if you have any inkling, any weakness towards that, you will find yourself doing the things to feed whatever that energy is. The same way that I say that when they said God made man, we made God. You see, in his image and likeness. And so whatever it is that we now, at the last stages of a particular consciousness cycle, that comes to end. And like I said many times before, and the sisters hated me, at the end of every consciousness cycle and a consciousness paradigm, the female, destructive female energy, because she is the matter principle, she is always prominent in it. Kali, Sekhmet, Ashtar, all of them are the destructors. And our ancestors from the longest period of time ago used to put them up as the ones that actually look at Kali. She's got the swords and the skulls of men because she's saying, okay, it's time for a change. It's a rebirth coming. This time, this thing has died. And if this particular energy is what you call a super senior energy, wow, is it going to be heavy when the time changes, when the actual crucible comes to change. And women know what it's like if they've had birth, what it's like to go through that particular cycle. They have to go through another frame of mind. They switch into a whole other consciousness when that pain comes, when that baby is coming. And that's exactly what's happening. The baby is coming.
Wow. So this entity, people that speak like Tate, you're saying this entity doesn't like people who,
no, the masculine principle is under attack because it's the end time. and we represent a
Uh,
time that is not today. Remember, I told you I don't live today. I'm only here. I'm only visiting here from another tomorrow.
mhm, mhm,
I've said that so many times. I'm only visiting here from a tomorrow that I was helped to help you prepare for.
mhm,
That's what you're here for. You're
mhm,
here to prepare them for tomorrow that does not go along this consciousness timeline.
mhm, mhm,
You are deviating from a path of destruction. You're
mhm,
telling them there's another way.
mhm,
There is another way. The
mhm,
musicians like Jimi Hendrix, he's trying to tell you, I don't live today.
mhm,
Where I took that from.
mhm,
He said, I don't live today. I'm
mhm,
only visiting from
mhm.
another tomorrow,
From another tomorrow.
from a whole other tomorrow, from the one that you think you're headed to.
Mhm,
And I'm trying to tell you there's a detour around this. You may not survive it physically, but when you have fixed your radar, when
mhm,
you have fixed your attention on the destination that you're supposed to occupy, the place you're supposed to occupy in thought, word, and deed,
mhm,
then your soul already has changed its metric, has changed its direction. And once
mhm,
that happens, you're going to see that you're going to end up coming back, if you do wish to come back, coming back already pre-prepared as a
mhm,
child,
mhm.
knowing immediately what you have to do,
But
no
yeah,
matter what your trials are.
yeah. Wow. Wow, that's wow. That this you started out real interested. This, I mean, what literature is this in? This entity that you speak. What literature?
You got to go into the Hebrew. Remember,
The
they took
Hebrew.
a lot from out of the they
Okay.
took a lot from out of the they took a lot from out of the ancient Kemites. And what you're looking at when you say Astaroth, you have to look at the Kabbalah.
Okay. Okay. The Kabbalah. All right.
Mhm.
And what about another news story that a lot of people are talking about, and I've heard you told the story of the Titanic years ago,
Yes.
to let people know what really happened.
Hmm.
Is there any similarities do you feel between the conspiracy behind the original Titanic and what took place with the recent billionaires that recently died? Were they
I'm
taken
not.
out on purpose
Yeah,
for?
yeah. We're supposed to
Mm,
believe that they went down there looking for whatever. I don't know what they're going down there and messing around with, but I believe that this. I think that this is a way that whoever it was down there,
mhm,
they backed out. They needed to die in order to get away from something.
mhm,
I'm not sure what it was that they had to die from, but
mhm,
I do know that, I why are we caring about multi-billionaires going down in a dirigible to do what?
mhm,
I don't really give a rat's ass what happens to them. They
mhm,
shouldn't be in the water like that anyway. They need to stay out of there. That ain't their home.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Leave well enough alone. You know what I'm saying? That's just like
Yeah.
the old adage. When black people go into a haunted house, white people say they hear spooky things. They say, I wonder what that is. Let's go check it out. Black person goes in and hears that same sound. He says, yo, I'm out,
I'm out. Yeah,
because we
out of here.
understand the spiritual realm,
Mhm,
you see. And so
mhm,
I don't really care about people who want to go down in dirigibles, because that is telling me that the news wants me to look over there
mhm,
and they're getting ready to do some shit over here.
mhm, mhm,
See,
mhm.
and I stopped looking at what it is they want me to look at, and look at the things that they don't want me to look at. Like
Right.
when I said, remember when I said about 25 years ago that everybody needs to study Lucifer?
Yeah. Mhm,
Oh, did
mhm,
I get it from the church?
mm,
And
mm,
I,
right,
then I was telling them, I said, well, Jesus and Lucifer are the same. Lucifer redeemed us from the garden,
mm,
and Jesus came back and redeemed us from the earth, from
mm,
our sins.
mhm.
So the two of them are redeemers.
Right, right.
So which one
Yeah.
is which? Because even Jesus said, I'm Lucifer in Revelations 20, I think it's 22 and 16.
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm.
They both the what, the morning star or
Yeah, they're
something like
both
that?
the light of the
Yeah,
world. Jesus
yeah.
said he's the light of the world. Lucifer is the light of the morning.
Mhm,
You see, and the thing is, Europeans right now are now opening up to the fact that Christianity needs a little bit of scrutiny,
mm,
because with the amount of intellectual growth about the reality of what we're in,
mhm,
listening to the stories that our ancestors put together as lesson plans for us,
Mm-hmm.
It's for us to decipher, not for us to just believe.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so I've been doing this for the last nearly 40 years, trying to decipher what that book really meant. And if you understood the book, you would understand it's a book of science.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we spoke on scientific things differently than the white man.
Right, right.
The white man complicates things by trying to micromanage everything. We essentially, as I said, we didn't deal with impositional analysis. The white man deals with impositional analysis, which means he imposes his will upon what he studies. This is what I see, this is what it must be.
Mm-hmm.
But the scientists that were our ancestors, they dealt with intuitional analysis. So intuitional analysis is, well, we will wait for the thing to identify itself to us.
Right, right, right.
We will approach nature with courtesy. We're not going to bulldoze our way into it. He's learning now because he understands now more because he's been studying Eastern philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
He's been studying, or where is he going back every time you look at him on TikTok? He over there with black. He's trying to find out more and more. Where does he do most of his digging? In Africa.
Mm-hmm.
In South America. I don't see him digging up in Europe. Ain't nothing up there. His entire past is in Africa and in South America and in Upper Asia. Everywhere where he ain't. And remember, I said that when I did Brother Tariq Nasheed's documentary. The digger the white man digs, the deeper the white man digs for evidence of his past, the blacker the planet gets.
Mm-hmm. And you also said, speaking of Lucifer, it's connected to the phosphorus. And
the luciferus.
Yeah.
The phosphorus, and that's in the sperm.
That's in the sperm.
Yeah, that's the one that triggers the atomic reaction when it goes through the zona pellucida of the egg. When it burrows its way down into the zona pellucida, which is the covering on the egg, it burrows its way through. Now, there's millions of them attacking the egg. The egg knows which one to let through. You got to see this. This is deep. Because this is how you, as the father, selects and opens the portal for the next person that's supposed to be in your lineage to come through. And depending on what you, as the father, are feeling at that moment, your emotional body is what creates the sex of the child. So if you are more into feelings, because there's two dynamics running through you as electric and magnetic. There's feelings and desire. Desire is electric, feelings is magnetic. If you are holding on to a more magnetic energy, you're going to have a little girl. If you're more in dynamic, if you're in your rage time, you're going out there and you hustling and you banging and what do you call it? You're more in your desire energy. And that desire energy builds up and then it begins to charge the sperm in accordance with that. And most people were laughing at me at that time. They laughed at me when I told them that there's an atomic explosion that happens in the middle of the egg once that sperm goes down, and there's a fusion reaction in the middle of that sperm. Of the egg. As it blows, there is an action that the European doctors say was phosphorus and it's a phosphorus a phosgene explosion. Their microscopes have gotten powerful enough to now see what it is that the occult people knew.
Right.
That explosion is the gateway opening up from Amenti, where the soul is traveling back.
Whew. Shit.
Back into the life. And then the soul now coming back becomes Osiris or As or Asa. Asa has two ways he died. He was killed by his brother Set, right? And was cut up into 16 pieces. But then the other story of Asa was that he was drowned by Set. But that was just an analogy speaking about you coming back into the waters of your mother. Because the physical body, the spiritual body dies in the physical body. And that's what the crucifix was about. the man on the cross is that the soul of man dies on the third dimension of matter.
Whew. Damn. You cold with this, Doc. You
And
cold blooded with this, man.
we teach this in our university.
You
All our
cold.
students know about this.
You cold blooded with this. Damn, that's wow. Okay. Wow. That's what the cross is about, huh?
And you wore that in
Yeah.
ancient Kemet after you went through the life and death cycle and resurrection. Because you had to die once you to be actually initiated in the ancient of times. You had to die. That's where you see the brothers doing voodoo in Haiti. And they used to put used to drink this and then turn them into zombies. They'd be live.
Yeah.
They can't move.
Yeah.
That's from the ancient Kemites. What happened is after you went through the crucible, you had to crawl down into a place where you can barely fit down underground. And if you didn't have the stomach to keep going and to push yourself through, that's why you see the Kemites were so skinny. You ever see a fat Kemite on the wall?
No.
Because essentially when they went through that initiation process, they had to go through some deep and dig it. There was one part where he would initiate, because we teach this in our university at the third degree. When you get through and you pull yourself through, you open up into this deep cavern that has a very tiny light that Herodotus was talking about. And over in the corner, you see a small bridge over a gigantic hole. And when you walk through that hole and you cross that bridge, you have to kind of balance your way across the bridge. You get to the other side, all of a sudden there's somebody there that welcomes you into a place where there is the sweetest smelling perfumes. You see a beautiful thing, and then they got a half-naked woman sitting on the bed. And she's a gorgeous woman. And if you give any attention to her, there's a dude with a scimitar right there to chop your head off.
Wow.
If you're strong enough to deal with that temptation, it opens up, and then another initiate ushers you into a hall where there are 22 pictures. Which are the what became the tarot. And he explains each one of them. That's how they kept the secrets alive when they were invaded.
Oh, okay.
It's a hall, and there was 22 different pictures that represented the book of life, the book of Jehudi.
Right. Wow. Okay, Doc. See, man, y'all better be ready for Sunday, man. Doc know his info, man. Let me put the flyer on the screen one more time.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know we was going there tonight, Doc. I thought it was going to be simple and
well, right now it is simple, King, because I tell you, if I could get you into our classes, it'd be so great. You understand exactly what I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, this will be old news for you. You will be teaching.
Excellent. Once again, family, it's happening this Sunday, June 25th, 2023 at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The link is in the description and is also pinned at the top of the chat. Re-examining the authenticity of reality. Phase 1, exposing and decoding the heliocentric hoax, the mother of all conspiracies. Phase 2, transdimensional pathways, time travel via frequency portals in space-time. That time traveling one, that's very interesting as well. Doc. Frequency portals, is that like different when different brain waves or something like alpha and theta, and is that what that is?
What you have to, the frequency portals are in space-time. Your thoughts automatically, based upon what you're thinking about, opens portals. It's just that you don't know how to walk through because you got too much confusion going on in your head. You can visit any place on the time frame, on the time scale. You can visit any place on the time scale, but see, when we fell, quote unquote, a lot of the organs that were necessary for us to do this type of work went into stasis. And so this is why the yogis went through such a very Martinesque type of rigidity with their passions and their hungers and what they consumed and what they ate and so forth, because they couldn't be anything that takes away from such energy to be able to visit different time spots,
Right.
time frames.
Woo.
Because if you have, sickness in your body, and your body is calling you, and your body is taking energy in order to try to heal consistently, and the breath and the circuitry of the nerves are all clogged up with filth and pollution, you're not going to take that trip. You're stuck
Right.
in time. You're
Right.
stuck in the now time. But usually you need to be with nature. Nature is the necessary helpmeet. She is the one. She's the mother. I don't know if you ever seen one of the cards of the tarot where you see the empress sitting there with a veil across her face.
Mm-hmm.
And she's supposed to be Isis or Ast. And she says, none may raise my veil who are not worthy.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, and she has a book, the book of life on one lap, on her lap, and the symbol of life in the other.
Mm-hmm.
It is through her and what they call space-time, because space essentially is representative of the father. Time is the mother, because she's the one who sets the metronome. The metronome is the father's intention.
So why do they say father time?
Well, father time essentially is the one giving mother nature the energy. You see, the masculine principle is the space. That's the part that everybody is wondering where, what is going on inside of space. They flipped the script. They told you father time because they don't want you to understand and understand that space, that place that everything takes place in, that's the father energy that feeds what you see through the senses. Time sets the metronome. The time is when you go down into matter and you go down into the compressed regions of third density. There is this metronome that is taking place that has you balancing between spirit and matter. Spirit and matter. Tick tock, tick tock. And the only place that happens is under the compression of matter, which is mater, which is mother. So remember, it still switches up. In the yin yang symbol, the father is in the mother and the mother is in the father. So the space-time isn't actually separated. That's us. When we're down in third density, it looks like it's separated, but it's actually operating in consort. And we think that we are over here and it's over there. And until we release the illusion that there is separation and understand that it's all one, you cannot breach space-time, because you're thinking that I got to go through space in order to beat time. Isn't that what they tell you? You got to go faster than the speed of light, and then all of a sudden you come. Yeah, that's because they're playing it as a dichotomy and not as one thing. See, it's going to confuse people when they say father time. They say that whoever's playing that game, they're taking away from you the understanding of what matter is and what in time and what is space representative of. Space essentially is what? What do we say space is? Space is what they call conditioned fullness. It's a conditioned fullness. It's the water. It is wherever potential can happen in that. You have to be the activator in that. You are actually petitioning the Father when you go into space and time. When you are operating in space, you are using your thought process to send signals into space in order for it to respond to that by creating the cymatic sigils that become matter. And once those cymatic sigils are created by your thoughts, the metronome of time comes in. That's what your heart is about. What do you think your heart is? It's a timekeeper. You see what I'm saying? Why do you think your brain is split to two parts? One is dealing in space, which is the right, and the other is speeding in time, which is the left. Everything is in duality. So when you understand that time is the mother energy that fixes the intentions of the father, which is essentially permeating through what we call space, which is a conditioned fullness of the intention of the father. But they're not going to teach you that. because they're not telling you too much.
Everything you're talking about right now made me think about what happened with the Schumann resonance and the mother-father principle.
There it is. We're operating opposite to that, and they got us thinking in opposite direction. In fact, that's what the satanic energy is necessarily. That's how they live. They twist everything. They're not going to tell you the truth because that keeps them in power. It keeps them in power to keep you thinking these cross-references. That's why we have to discard everything he says, take in everything that he does give us, because he's the one that's been holding on to everything he's stolen. He's holding it for us. We must now reclaim it, but by reclaiming it, we have to put the definition of it back that we gave to it, not him. Because he is redefining what the Bible means by telling you some white man walked on water, or he came here with blonde hair, blue eyes to actually save humanity. All of those lies are going to be exposed in my webinar. And if you can't, let me ask you a question. He tells you the earth is round and a ball spinning through space at 1,038 miles an hour. If you believe that, then you believe a white man walked on this earth and called himself Jesus Christ. Because like I said, that's the mother of all the conspiracies. If you believe in a globe earth, then you believe in Jesus Christ walked the earth, because they are together. They came out of the same place, the Vatican.
You said something interesting when I talked to you on the phone, Doc, when I was telling you about the Schumann resonance, and I said it looked like cymatic images. You said cymatics are made on a flat surface.
There you go. Check it out. There has to be an opposing force that sets the base for cymatic images, and that is matter. That's the third density matter that pushes against your thoughts to create it. Remember, we are under about 16,000 pounds per square inch of cosmic force. We don't feel it because our body was made to function in it. But every time we give forth a thought, we are resisting that particular pressure. And it's in that resistance of that pressure that the cymatic images of your intentions that come through thought are then imprinted. And once the cymatic image of your thoughts, because you don't see them, they're reverberating on the atomic level. And what they do is they set up an electromagnetic field that calls the specific elements towards them. So when you set up a cymatic image, it's resonating, saying, come on, fill me up. I'm an embryo. I'm a sperm and an egg. I just broke out. I'm a zygote. I'm a thought zygote. Now, feed me. What is it? Okay, I got like 20% fire. I got 40% earth and all of these. And the cymatic images, that sigil that is created by your thoughts, are calling the four elements towards it in order to give it life. And the more you concentrate on that cymatic image,